Companies out of Eastern Europe really are starting to show us in the modeling world that they're interested in our business and our money. Today's Breaking Bags episode 4 is going to review this little guy. So a couple things about this. So back in the early and mid 1980s, the United States Air Force was looking to replace the T-37 Tweet, the trainer version of the A-37. They put out a whole bunch of different RFIs and RFPs, and as a result of that, Fairchild Republic came up with this design and actually flew at least one, I think 3 T-46 Eaglets. Then the project was canceled. So these things never really made it to the production line. T-37s kept on and soldiered on for another 20 years before they were finally replaced with a couple of other different aircraft that are out there, including T-38s that had been advanced to the T-38C version as well, but more primarily the T-6 Texan. So this is the T-46A Eaglet. It is 1/72 scale, and it is made by SOVA-M. Never heard of this company before, but they seem, as I looked around, they seem to have a number of things, and they have identified here on the side of their kit some interesting other little kits, like the Northrop Grumman Firebird is what they're showing. Different variations here, including the unmanned version as well as the piloted version, and then a Beechcraft 1900C. I mean, who makes those types of airplanes? But apparently these guys do. So SOVA-M, I believe, from what I can tell, because I do speak a little bit of Russian, or can read a little bit of Russian, and then of course here this lovely little piece that is in English. This is another one of those Ukrainian model companies. There's so many Ukrainian model companies out there, but this came out in 2022 and has just recently reached the U.S. shores. So let's take a look at what this has got. So first of all, let's take a look at the instructions, and then we can break the bags. So what we have here is pretty standard instructions, no color, photocopy type of, it's not really a photocopy, it's printed, to be fair. Talks about the decals, a little bit of background, which I just gave you. This is, okay, so this is a technology, a short run kit. So if you want one of these, probably is now time to go get it, because it probably won't be around much, and it's not because of the war, it's because it's designed as a short run kit. So we have all the different parts trees here. I wonder if we have some photo etch. Comes with masks for painting. That's a nice little touch. I can give them 2 points right there for that. I don't have to figure out how to, that's a pretty significant glass cockpit there, which most trainers are, and if they've given me a mask to cover that, that's great. All right, see, instructions, cockpit, it's 1/72 scale, but it seems to be, it's got some parts, so it seems to be fairly well detailed. I know that just on a little bit of research I've done, the seats on these things were, although they were ejection seats, were not that well, I mean, they weren't that big a deal, kind of like the T-37 seats. So it looks like they might be rudimentary in here, but again, it's a 1/72 short run kit. Fuselage halves goes in there. Here's your engines on the sides. They do give you fan blades, it looks like, as well as the back end of them. Okay, so once you get the fuselage together, you put the high wing together, you put the tail pieces, which are very much like an A-10. Ironically, it comes from the same company, Fairchild. Couple of antennas on there. And then here, this one is the one, when I first saw it, it kind of freaked me out a little bit, but there's a lot of little pieces to put in there. Almost maybe one of those deals where it possibly could have been a second or third set of instruction or instruction steps in there, because there's just a lot of lines in there. That gets a little goofy. Probably have to one of those deals where I take my pen and mark it off. All right, so then we come down to applying the landing gear, and because the aircraft that did fly were prototypes, they had these long pitot and instrumentation tubes on there. And then it wraps up. It does give you some weapons options, which we will not use when we build this airplane. This is, for me, this is a trainer and a trainer only. But this last section, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13, are all weapons related stuff. All right. Get a nice little call out for the decals on here. We'll take a look at the decals in a moment. The airplane was all white except for just a little bit of black up here, and then of course gunmetal where the engines were at. So it's on here, it's accurately representing the colors that were there. So it is representing a real aircraft that flew, and looks like you have the different decals for the test units. Looks like maybe even, well, yeah, 493 and 596. You actually have three airplanes, 492, 93, and 596. So you got three different airplanes that you can pick from here. All right, so those are instructions. I would say for a short run kit and for a manufacturer I've never heard of before, that to me looks like a pretty good set of instructions. Now, we aren't breaking bags. Here is it's a Ziploc bag, which is kind of a nice touch. So there is photo etch. So let's hit the photo etch first. There's just a couple of pieces of photo etch where looks to me like where vents would be at. So that's nice. They're pretty sturdy, kind of thick. We'll see how well they go on a 1/72 scale kit. Here is the canopy. Now, right off the bat, hopefully it looks better than it does. Oh yeah, it does actually. That canopy, although it's clear, is very crude. It's very thick. It's just, if you hold it in the light, it's not smooth. And it's got some bumps, or some, yeah, I can even, maybe, yeah, they're on the other side actually. They're on the inside. There's some bumps in there. You know, again, 1/72 scale, it's not going to kill us, but a less thick canopy would probably be the deal there. That would probably solve that problem. But again, short run kit, not going to complain too much. All right. Here's why we're not going to complain. They got the masks. It's a little bitty mask sheet, but they've got the masks, and that is great. I'm glad to have that. Here's our decals. Just a little bitty decal sheet, not much needed. There is the dials for the cockpit. All the colors, actually, these look to be quite well into register. So you can read the rescue, and I'll bet you if I put my visor on, I could probably read those things in there, because I can read even that rescue and that rescue. So I can read that. U.S. Air Force T-46, Air Force serial number, and I can't quite make out the numbers, but let's see. So decals look pretty nice actually. So there's another positive. All right, let's take a look at what we've got here. So again, short run kit. So what do we expect? We expect a lot of flash, and I'm not seeing a ton of flash. These are the wings. I'm seeing finely engraved panel lines, which is nice. Maybe just a tad bit too much. But no, you know what? I'm not even going to say it's too much, because by the time you get a layer of paint on there and get some weathering on it, they actually look pretty nice. Wings are in halves, but the tail pieces are in single piece, and then there's the tail bar piece, or the horizontal tails go across there. So that looks nice. All right, again, I'm still expecting flash. but I'm not seeing a lot of flash. There's flash in the corners of the sprues, but not on the kit parts themselves, which is nice, except for just a little bit. There's a little bit of flash right there. Now, I really wish on something this small, so these are air scoops, wish on something this small that was a one-piece air scoop, even if it wasn't hollow on the inside, because I could always drill it out. Putting that air scoop together will be a challenge, but hey, it is what it is. The tires are well done with detail on the rims and in the insides. That is for the back end of the engine. I was about ready to say it's a lump, but it's not. You can actually see the lines in there for the back end, and then there is the fan blade, and that has lines on it, so that's nice. And these are for the ejection seat sides, so there's some details on that. There's your ejection seat. Pretty simple, but again, it's multiple parts, so we'll see what happens when it goes together. I believe there should be 2 of those, and in fact, that's accurate. There are 2 of those, so that is a repeat of what you just saw. And then this sprue, S, is the pitot tube, and that's going to be a challenge. That's got a lot of flash on there. Flash there, flash there. So that's going to be a challenge to clean up a little bit. But here's all the different aerials that are on it. Man, for a training plane, this thing's got a lot of aerials on it. All right, weapons racks. This one looks nice. Again, halves, rocket pods, practice bombs. I'm assuming this is some sort of practice bomb dispenser, but we won't use those when we build. Engine pods, okay, lots of flash on them, but it's easy to clean up. The detail is really nice on here. That's where one of your photo etch pieces goes. So there's one of the vents. Yeah, it's not too bad. Front wheel well, nothing. Maybe it's better to make this one in flight. Here's a nice little touch. They actually put R on these pieces. These are the intake splinters. So they put R on there for right, and L on there for left, and even inside of the engine pod, the intakes, L there, R there, so you know exactly which one goes on which side. Huge plus on that. I wish some other kit manufacturers would do that. And here's the body. All right, again, a little bit of flash. Detail up here is nice, even with the little fasteners on there. You might be able to see that. It's not bad. Again, talking size, we're talking short run here, so we have to be generous. There's a sink mark right there and right there. That's going to be interesting to fix. I wonder what those parts are. Maybe you don't need them, maybe you do. Maybe that's on the inside or something. That and that are pieces of the cockpit. All right, so overall, what do I think? Well, there is no, from my understanding, I looked on ScaleMates, there is no other T-46A Eaglet out there. So if you want a kit of an Eaglet, this is it. It's not going to be the type of kit that everybody's going to run to. Probably most of the aviation world doesn't even know it exists. The aircraft even existed because it was such a short production prototype type of situation that really never made it anywhere after the 1984, 85, 86 time frame. So what do I think of the kit? I think it's got some great detail on it for panel lines. I think it lives up to its short run mindset. I like the fact that they identify left and right on the engine pods, so you really can't mess those up. I wish they had done something slightly different with the canopy. It's just way too thick. I like the fact that they got some photo etch for the vents. So I don't have any complaints. I mean, this is what I would expect out of a short run kit, out of a company I've never heard of, out of Ukraine, Eastern Europe. I mean, I paid $45 for it. Probably a little overkill on the price, but again, it's short run kit. If this is what I'm looking for, if this is what I want on my collection, this is the only place to get it. So the market demands that price. So anyway, I would recommend it if you want a T-46. We'll see how it builds maybe someday. Looks like it could be a fairly easy build, maybe a week-long build or something. But anyway, there you go. Thanks.